Hello my dear students, I welcome you to the NEET world. So today we will be discussing about classification of elements and periodicity in the properties. Okay, so this topic is very simple and interesting, so everyone can listen to the class very carefully and it will be easy to understand. Okay, so here, so at presently we know there are 118 elements in the periodic table, but at the early stage there were only few elements known. So later on by the discoveries, now we have 118 elements, right? So at the early stage the different scientists came to arrange these elements in different manner, because it is very hard to remember these 118 elements in a proper like what exactly the particular element character and all those things, right? So it is, if we classify them based on their properties, it is easy to remember. So something like this, when we are going for a library and we are searching for books, so we will directly go to some particular book section whatever we require, and we will be taking our book from that section itself. If all books are placed at one position by mixing them, so it is difficult to take whatever the book we require because all books are combined there. So it is very difficult. So when they are segregated in some section wise, so we can directly go to that particular section and we will be taking that book very easily. So similar to that, so if the elements are classified based on their properties, so it is easy to understand what kind of properties they exhibit and what kind of reactions they will show. Okay, so in order to make it easy, so different scientists came with different like developments. So who is the first person we know? So it is Daubernier triads. Okay, then next we have Newland's law of octave. Then next we have Lothar-Meyer Lothar-Meyer classification. Then next we have what? Mendeleev's classification. Then next we have the modern periodic table given by Moseley. So these are the early discoveries or early developments. We need to look into it, because the basic questions may come from these topics also. Once after studying these topics, then we can move for the properties. So what are the properties we have? Atomic radius, ionic radius also. Then next, ionization energy, electron gain enthalpy and electronegativity. These things we will be discussing now. Okay. So here, so what is this Daubernier's triad? So here Daubernier triad means, see the name itself saying triad. So triad means he taken set of 3 elements. So when he considers set of 3 elements, let us say the 3 elements, let us take it as A, B, C. So now this he has taken 3 elements in the increasing order of their atomic weights. Now when he arranged these 3 elements in the increasing order of their atomic weights, he observed that the atomic mass of the middle element is the average of first and third element. So what he considered? The atomic weight of B is equals to atomic weight of first one A plus C by 2. So this is how he got his triads. But these triads were applicable only to very few set of elements, but not all the elements which are known at that time itself. Okay, so let us see what are the triads we have here. So he has taken lithium, sodium, potassium. So for them these are the atomic weights. Now let us see the atomic weight of sodium can be considered as the average of atomic weight of lithium plus average the atomic weight of potassium by 2. So this will be 23, right? So which is the atomic weight of the middle element, sodium. Similarly, it is also applicable for calcium, strontium, barium, and also chlorine, bromine, iodine. So these triads you have to remember. Okay, only few set of triads are given by him, but it is not applicable to all the elements which are known at that time itself. Therefore, so this Daubernier triad was not accepted because it is not applicable to all the known elements, right? So they may thought it may be coincidence because it is applicable only for few elements but not to all the elements. Therefore, this triad got failed. Okay. Then we have one more development, that is what? Newland's law of octave. So what is this Newland's law of octave here? So he has this person, he this John Alexander Newland. So what he did is, so he has taken the elements like this. So when he has taken the elements based on their increasing atomic weights, so he observed that for every first element and the eighth element is having similarities in their properties. So what I am saying, for every first element and the eighth element. So let us see here what is the first element here. Let us consider this sodium, like let us say lithium is there here. So for the lithium, what is the eighth element here? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. See, lithium and sodium are similar in their properties. And similarly, beryllium and magnesium are having similar in their properties. Again, boron and aluminum are having similar in their properties. So like this, he got for every first and eighth element something like a musical note we have now, like sa re ga ma pa da ni sa. So for sa, again sa comes at the eighth place. So for first and eighth, there are similar in their properties. Okay. So when he proposed this like Newland's law of octave, there were no noble gases were included in that periodic elements. Okay. Therefore, he got for first and eighth. But if we apply this Newland's law of octave at right now for the periodic table, whatever we have, so now we can observe this this trend for every first and ninth element, because now the noble gases were included in the periodic table. Therefore, we will be observing it for every first and ninth, but not for first and eighth. When he is given, there were no noble gases included. Therefore, he got it as for first and eighth. But if we apply right now, so we have noble gases also in the periodic table. Therefore, it will be for every first element and the ninth element. It is this kind of resemblance will be observed. I hope this is clear. Okay. Now, what are the limitation it has? So, whatever the Newland's law of octave is there now, it is applicable only up to calcium, but it is not applicable in case of heavier elements. Therefore, this is also got failed because it is not applicable after calcium. Okay. And so due to the involvement of these noble gases, so inclusion of noble gases, the Newland law of octave got disturbed, because now it is considered to be for every first and ninth, but not every first and eighth. Okay. So after this, we have Luther-Meyer curve. So what is this Luther-Meyer curve? So he has taken atomic volume versus atomic mass. So when he considered the graph, so he got like kind of graph like this. So he observed that those elements which are having similar in their properties are occupying similar kind of position. For example, see here, sodium is an alkali metal which is occupying at the top of the curve. Similarly, potassium is also at the top of the curve, which is also alkali metal, and rubidium is also at the top of the curve, which is also alkali metal. Okay, like this, those elements which are having similar in their properties are occupying the similar position in the this curve. Okay. So now these points you should remember. So these are the 4 points which you have to focus. See, all the alkali metals such as like sodium, potassium, rubidium, which have similar properties, occurs at the peak of the curve. So as we seen here, at the peak of the curve we are seeing all the alkali metals. Then next, halogen elements like fluorine, chlorine, bromine, which have similar in their properties, occur at the rising or the ascending part of the curve. So just see here, chlorine, bromine, see chlorine, here also fluorine, and here also bromine. See, this is the ascending part, right? This is the increasing part, right? So it is occupying at the ascending part of the curve for all these like what, halogens. Okay, these points you should remember because they may give this kind of statements as options, which are following is or true or false, like that they may ask us. Okay, you should be clear with these points. Then next, here we have noble gases such as neon, argon, krypton, which have similar properties, occur just before the alkali metals. Yes, so they are just before the alkali metal. See, so see, this is alkali metal. See, just before the alkali metal we have argon here. Here we have krypton. Here, so like that. Here we have neon. So like that you should remember. Okay. Okay. Then next, hydrogen and helium seems to be an exception for this rule. Okay. These are the hydrogen and helium seems to be exception for this rule. Okay. So then next we have Mendeleev's periodic law. So what is a Mendeleev periodic law? So this will be a little bit more important than the previous two whatever we discussed. Okay, so Mendeleev arranged the elements in horizontal rows and vertical columns of a table in order of their increasing atomic weight. What is that? Increasing atomic weight. Now he told that the physical and chemical properties of elements are the periodic functions of their atomic masses. So he arranged the elements based on their increasing atomic weights. Okay, and what are the characteristics of this Mendeleev's periodic table we will be seeing here. It is based on what? Atomic weights. This point you should remember. Okay, so when he given this law, there were 63 elements known and noble gases were not discovered. Okay, then next he was the first scientist to classify the elements in the systematic manner, like in the horizontal rows and in vertical columns. So these words, horizontal rows and vertical columns, was started from Mendeleev only. Okay, now horizontal rows were called as periods, like this. So in the periodic table, now also we are calling the same now. So those elements which are in these horizontal rows are considered as periods, right? There are 7 periods we are saying now, and 18 what is it? 18 groups are there we are saying, right? See, vertical columns like these, how many are there? Now we are saying it as 18. So 8 like vertical columns were groups called as groups, and there were 8 groups when he proposed this Mendeleev periodic table. Okay, right now we have 18. When he given this, so he told that there were 8 groups in Mendeleev's periodic table. Okay, again these are subdivided. Okay, so each group up to 7th is subdivided into AB parts, like 1A and 1B, like that 2A, 2B, 3A, 3B, like that he subdivided up to 7A, 7B, and he classified like set of, for 8th group what he did is he has taken set of 3 like 3 groups from the transition elements. Okay, and this is how he has taken. Yeah, just now you can consider like, see, 8th group is consist of 9 elements in 3 rows. In a rows. Okay, these are transition metal groups. Okay, the next, the elements belonging to the same group exhibit similar properties. So based on his classification, so what he did, he classified periods and also groups. So those elements which are lies in one group are having similar in their properties. Okay, okay, so what are the merits of this Mendeleev's, or what are the advantages of this Mendeleev's classification? Okay, so what are the classification? Let us see. The study of elements, see, the study of elements little bit easier now, because those elements which are lying in the one particular group are having similar in their properties. Therefore if we study about one particular element, we can generalize it to the other elements of that respective group, right? Okay, now first time all known elements were classified in the groups according to their similar properties. Yeah, this is one advantage. And prediction of new elements, it was given an encouragement to the discovery of new elements. See, when he is classifying his periodic table, he just predicted some elements may be exist or discovered in future. Let us leave some space for those elements, and he given some space to those elements in his periodic table, and those elements were discovered in later, when after his proposal of that particular Mendeleev's periodic table. So what are those elements here? So he left space for gallium by naming it as Ica aluminium. So these are also very important points, very important points. So what is like they may ask, what is Ica aluminium? It is gallium. Okay, then next, what is Ica boron? This is scandium. Okay, so then we have Ica silicon, which is germanium. Then next, Ica manganese, it is technetium or technetium. Okay, so you should remember these elements. So what is Ica aluminium? Gallium. What is Ica boron? Scandium. Ica silicon? Germanium. Ica manganese? Technetium. Okay, these elements you should remember. Okay, so what are the demerits? So first demerit is the position of hydrogen is not satisfied, because it has resemblance with first group as well as halogen family. Therefore the position of hydrogen was not proper. It was not decided properly. Okay. Next thing is position of isotopes. See, we know isotopes have different mass numbers, right? Because the number of protons are same, but number of neutrons will be different. Therefore, the total mass number will be different. So, we know Mendeleev classified the elements or arranged the elements based on their increasing atomic weights. Now, for a particular element, let us say carbon we have, it will be having different isotopes. Now, two isotopes should be kept separately. Like carbon 12, carbon 13, carbon 14 should be kept separately. But he was given only one position for all those as a carbon. So it means when he is told he arranged based on their atomic weight, this should be kept separately, but he given only one place, which is a drawback, right? Which was unable to explain by him why he has kept like that, right? So this is one drawback or demerit of Mendeleev's periodic table, because there is no position of proper position of isotopes. Okay. Then next, anomalous pair of elements. What do we mean by anomalous pair? See, when since he arranged the elements based on their increasing atomic weights, so there were some elements were seen with like there is some discrepancy, like means some elements with lower atomic weight kept later and some elements with smaller atomic weight kept first. So see here, I mean see lower, like see argon is having 39.9 and potassium is having 39.1. So it means argon should come later and potassium should come first, but it is in reverse manner, right? So he was unable to explain what is the reason for this anomalous behavior. So once again, so you should remember this, what are the anomalous pair of elements we have. So he may ask us in the question paper, we may get what are the anomalous pairs from the following. What are those? Here we have argon and potassium, and we have similarly cobalt, and the next we have nickel. So like this, so whatever the things mentioned in the NCERT, you should focus on those things. So you should not miss a single point from the NCERT while reading it. Okay. Then next, then later we got modern periodic law. So here this was given by Henry Moseley. He observed the regularities in the characteristics using X-ray spectrum. So he drawn a plot. He given a plot of drawing frequency of X-rays versus atomic number, which is indicated by Z, which gives a straight line. So based on that, he given his periodic table. Okay. So he modified modern what is it? Mendeleev's periodic table into a new periodic law. So what is it? The physical and chemical properties of elements are periodic functions of their atomic numbers. There he told it is atomic weights. Here he is saying it is atomic numbers. Okay. Okay. So what are the characteristics of modern periodic table? See, in Moseley's periodic table, what he given, it is based on the atomic numbers, not on the atomic weights. Okay. So what are the modern periodic like characteristics? So there are 18 vertical columns called groups, and from 1 to 8th and 0 group, which is given for inert gas or noble gases. Okay, the group which is 0 group, or we can say noble gases. Okay, and inert gases were introduced in the periodic table by Ramsay. Okay, 7 horizontal rows called periods. So how many periods are there? 7 periods are there, and 18 groups are there in the modern periodic table. Okay, so what are the merits of this periodic table? So position of isotopes is satisfied now, because now he told that periodic properties are the functions of their atomic number but not the atomic mass. So if it is atomic number, so all the isotopes will be having same atomic number, right? And there will not be any like inclusion of anomalous pairs also. So there is no issue with the isotopes, because all the isotopes will be having same atomic number, because number of protons will be same in the all the cases, right? For all the isotopes. Similarly, there is no issue with the anomalous pairs also, because it is not about atomic weights, it is just about number of protons, that is what the atomic number of that particular element. Okay. So I hope you are clear with two things. Now there is no issue with isotopes and anomalous pairs. Then next, so here he told that. Then next, lanthanides and actinides are in the group 3, I mean like in 3B of the group, so third B. So which means this will be after scandium, like we have a scandium like that, yeah, in the scandium you can see them. Group, okay, let me go, yeah. So here in modern periodic table, diagonal line separates out, yeah. So just now we will be seeing the periodic table, what is our exactly modern periodic table. So there, so we know metals, non-metals are separated by a diagonal line of elements which are metalloids. So metalloids separates metals and non-metals, which will be seen in this modern periodic table, we will be seeing after some time. Okay, now elements of same group have same general formula of electronic configuration. So which means, for example, what is the general electronic configuration for first A group elements like alkali metals? We can just write it as NS1. So all the elements which are in the first group can be generalized, their electronic configuration can be generalized as NS1. For second group we can write it as NS2. For third group we can write it as NS2 NP1, something like this. We can go for all the p block elements from 1 to 6, right? Like this we can write. I hope this is also clear. Then next, what are the demerits? See, even for Mendeleev's and even now modern periodic table we have now, so the position of hydrogen is still controversial. So this was still not satisfied because it is having resemblance with like alkali metals as well as halogens. Okay, so helium is a inert gas, but it has different electronic configuration when we compare with the other inert gas elements. Okay, so next, lanthanides and actinides are still not placed in the main frame. See, lanthanides, actinides are at the bottom of the periodic table but not in the main frame of the periodic table. Now isotopes have different physical properties but have same place in the periodic table, right? Now this is the modern periodic table. If we see these are metals. So this is alkali metals. Like see, these are alkali metals. As we go here we have transition elements, and here these are lanthanides and actinides. See, just now I told you this is a series like elements which are separating metals, and these are all non-metals. So metals and non-metals are separated by these pale yellow color metalloids, which we have indicated with the pale yellow color, which is metalloids. Here it is there. So you can use this periodic table for your reference. Okay, so now, yeah, so those elements which are having atomic number more than 100. So we have some rules from IUPAC. There are some standard rules. We can follow those rules to name for the elements which are more than atomic number more than 100. So what are those rules? So see, for example, atomic number is 101. What I am saying, atomic number is 101. So for this particular element we can give a name following IUPAC rules. How can we give that? See, for number 1 you can write it as un. Okay, for number 0 you can make it as 0 nil. So 2 you can write bi. For 3 tri. So 4 quad, 5 pent, 6 hex, 7 sept, 8 oct, 9 n. Okay, like this. Okay, so you can use this. Now let us see what is the name for this for this number. So for 1 we should write un. So for 0 nil, again un. So first letter should be capital, like this, and the next name of the element should end with IUM. What we should use? IUM. So unnil unium is the name for this element. Okay, so you can try this for all the elements here we have. See, for 109 what they have written? Un nil nium. Un in nil nium for 109. Okay, so what is the 109th element here? Meitnerium is a 109th element. Okay, most of these elements were recently discovered. So previously there was no like official name, just IUPAC name based on the nomenclature was given or written in the periodic table. Even in our old NCERTs also, it should be given with the IUPAC nomenclature only, but not the official names, right? Okay. So for see, now the question will be, there is a previous year question which was asked like this: what is the IUPAC name for mendelevium, the element mendelevium? So in order to answer this, we need to know what exactly the atomic number for mendelevium. So what atomic number for mendelevium is 101. So you should write it as unnilanium. Okay, so for lawrencium it is 103. So you should write unnil triium, like this. Okay, so this is a question, see, previously asked in the NEET exam. So you should be aware of these names. Okay, so this you can take a screenshot of this for your reference. So practice it well, it might be useful for upcoming exams. Okay, you can take a screenshot. Okay, so now, so what is the name for mendelevium? So we know it is 101. So it should be what? Unnilanium. So A1. So what they are asking, identify the incorrect match. Okay. So now you can give a try for lawrencium. Just now we have seen this is 103. So unnilanium. So it means this is also correct. A correct. I mean, see, B2. This is correct. See, A1. This is also correct. But he is asking about incorrect one. So incorrect one means, see, seaborgium means it is unyl hexium only. See here, see 106. So 106. So this is C3. So this is also correct. So these three are correct. They are asking about incorrect one. So which means option number 4, option number 3. Why? Because 3, see, Dharm Stadium is having, see here where is, yeah. So it is 110. So 110 means what is the name? It should be unnilanium. So what is the name of that element? Should be for 110. It should be for 110. We should write it as unnilanium. Unnilanium. But what it is given? Why that third came here? So this, which means it is wrong. So if 3 uns are there, it means 111. So which is not correct because it is 10110, right? So option 4 is, I mean, which option is incorrect here? So D, I mean, so the incorrect one is this one. Third option is incorrect. So you should choose the third option for this question. Okay, next. So we can predict group, I mean, which group element it is, and which period element it is, and which block it is. So how do we predict this? So block we can predict, like what are the blocks we have? S block elements, first 2 groups we have. Then next here we have 13th group to 0th group, I mean 17th plus 0th group, the noble gases. So it will be P block elements, and in between these two we have D block. At the bottom of the periodic table we have F block, that is lanthanides and actinides. So we have 4 groups, 4 blocks here. So we can identify into based on the electron, which is the last electron entering into which orbital. See here, the based on the last electron enters into which orbital will says as which group element it is. For example, sodium is there. So the last electron, the atomic number is 11. That 11th electron will be entering into S orbital. Therefore, we can say it is belongs to S block element. Similarly, for boron, it is entering into P block, P orbital P1 to P1. Therefore, we can say it as this boron is belongs to P block element. I hope this is clear. Okay. Okay. Then next, we have period. Maximum value of principal quantum number gives the period. For example, here we are writing. For example, here I am writing for iron. What is the electronic configuration? Its atomic number is 26. The valency electronic configuration can be written as 3s2, 3d6, 4s2 we can write. Right now? So the maximum value of principal quantum number. So what is the maximum value here? This is a 4 is a maximum value. See the coefficients of orbitals, we can say them as principal quantum numbers, right? So what is the maximum principal quantum number? Here we have n equals to 4, which is maximum. So this gives us what period that particular element belongs to. So this iron Fe ferrous belongs to fourth period element. Okay, like this we can predict. So we can say fourth period or 3D series element. Okay, now what about group? So S block number of valency electrons. Yeah, so for S block number of valency electrons gives the group number. For example, for all alkali elements, like alkali elements we have, like for first group elements like lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, all these elements are having electronic configuration as general electronic configuration NS1. So in S orbital how many electrons are there? 1. Therefore we can consider this as first group elements. So for next group elements like alkaline earth metals, we have, what are the elements we have? Lithium, beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium, radium, like this, right? So for all of these elements we have NS2 electronic configuration, right? So 2 electrons are there, we can directly say this is belongs to second group element in case of S block elements, right? Now what about P block elements? So similar to S block elements, for P block elements also we can follow the same thing, but you just need to add plus 10. Why? Because from S to P in between we have D orbital D block elements. So there are 10 groups, we can say 10 P block elements, D block elements are in between S and P, like a row if I say. So therefore you need to add 10 plus 10 to this number. For example, let us say here boron if we take, so atomic number is 5, so we can write 1s2, 2s2, 2p1. So how many valence electrons are there here? So 3 valence electrons are there. So take this 3, okay. So to this 3 you just add plus 10. So what we are getting? 13 we are getting. So boron element boron belongs to 13th group. Similarly you can try it for carbon also. You will be getting 10 plus 4 because valency electrons we have 2s2, 2p2, therefore 4 electrons are there. 4 plus 10, 14. It belongs to carbon, belongs to 14th group. I hope this is clear. Okay, these things are clear. Now what about D block elements? So you just take ns electrons plus n minus 1d electrons. For example, here we have already written iron we have. So what is the valence electronic configuration we have here? 3d6, 4s2. So just add number of electrons in d orbital and s orbital. So valency s orbital will be 4s2 means 2 plus 3d6 means plus 6. So total 8. So this belongs to 8th group of the periodic table. Okay, I hope this is clear. So these whatever 13th, 8th group, whatever 1, 2 we are saying, these are IUPAC classification. Okay, standard IUPAC classification. Okay, so all F block belongs to which group? Third B group. Okay, or third group you can say. So you just see here. So first, second, third group. See here we have lanthanides and actinides. So all the like F block lanthanides follows lanthanum and all the actinides follows this actinum element, which means all these group elements like actinides and lanthanides belongs to third group only. I hope it is clear. See, just now I told you iron ferrous belongs to 8th group element. So here we have 8th number na? So that is how we should calculate. I hope this is very clear. Okay. The next we need to study about properties of properties of elements. So what are the properties we have? Atomic radius we have. What are the properties I am saying here? So what are the properties? Atomic radius, then next ionization ionization energy, and the next electron gain enthalpy, and the next we have electronegativity. So these are the 4 important properties we have. We need to study those things right now. Okay, so now, so I just want to make clear that, so let me check if there is any questions based on this. Yeah, so here, so we will be doing these atomic properties of elements in the upcoming video. So in order to avoid confusions with lengthy video, let us make one more video on this topic. So thank you for watching. You just after completing this video, you can go through the second video of this classification of elements. Okay, thank you for watching. Just go to the next video to complete these properties of elements also. Okay, thank you.